they're basically, let me tell you a story. This is more interesting. I'll stop with the science stuff. There was a professor at University of Minnesota. She's a psychologist. She was having a bunch of students come in and do cognitive tests. They Daphne Bevlier, if you're interested. I've met her a few times. She spoke at our lab when I was in grad school. They let me just check the audio levels because I'm a total noob. All right, good. We're good. Okay. So she had a bunch of college students come in. She had a battery of cognitive tests. She had some experiment she was doing. And there's like these normal ranges for these cognitive tests. So you have like multi-object tracking, which let me just pull up one of these tests just so you know what I'm talking about. Multi-object tracking. The point is when she had all these students do this test, they were scoring kind of like off the charts. Because there's these normal psychological ranges. And it's funny that this doesn't get more attention, but like, okay, this is multi-object tracking with, that's funny with computer science, but is this all computer science? Oh, this is all self-driving cars. Oh, that's so interesting. Cognitive test. If I can't find it, I'll just describe it in 2 seconds. It's just, I thought it would be more visual. I mean, we do have a visual medium here. So, oops. Full screen does not work. I did not mean to do that. Okay, so you're going to see this. So you're supposed to, let me go back. The task is to, it's off the screen. All right, so this is a multi-object tracking task. This is something that, just to give you the spoiler, Call of Duty players are ridiculously good at. So what they're going to do is you're supposed to pay attention to these two. So, okay, let me kill the captions. Oh, the captions aren't on. It's just on the video, right? Okay, cool. Okay, well, go ahead. So now they're going to disappear, and then you still have to track them. And then they pause it, and they ask you, which ones are they? And I think they're 3 and 4. I think it's this one and this one, but we'll see maybe they'll tell us the answer. Yep. Okay, cool. So that's multi-object tracking. This one's not that hard because it's only 2 objects. So the normal range for most healthy young adults is 3 to 4. Call of Duty players, well, we didn't know if it was Call of Duty players. Some students were scoring like 6 or 7, which is crazy because you're really talking about like plus or minus 1 ability on this kind of thing statistically in the population. And so she was like, that's weird. And she had a couple tests in a battery of tests that were like this. So she kind of pulled them back. She's like, can you bring these, she said this to like her grad students or RAs or whatever. Bring these people back. We'll survey them. See what they're doing in their life. Are they eating a lot of spinach? Are they, secretly Kryptonians? What's their deal? Brings it back, has them fill out a million survey questions, and then she figures out over time that one thing in common with the people performing well is they're playing video games. And at the time, this because the study was in 2007, I think, maybe even earlier. I don't remember anymore. Call of Duty. It was Call of Duty, and so they're all out of playing Call of Duty. So then she does another study where she like screens people based on do they play a lot of Call of Duty? They do not. Repeats it. People with Call of Duty score really high on multi-object tracking and other visual attention tasks. These tasks, they measure different things in our brain, or we think they do. They are way higher on a bunch of these. Then she takes a bunch of students that don't play games at all. Like, it was hard. It was mostly females to be back in 2007 or 8. And she forces them to play Call of Duty. She pays them money to come in her lab and pay it. And it was kind of a painful study to keep the students coming back because she wanted them to play like 12 or 15 times for an hour. So they had to come into the lab to play. They couldn't like just play in their dorms. So she does that and she tests them before and after. And she brings people back and or what we're talking about. She with this massive intervention study. And then she has another group of people like come in and just, I don't know, do something just as a control. You want to make sure there's that like, so she starts with a bunch of mostly girls just because she needed to find non-video game players. And she has 2 groups of them, and one they come into the lab 15 times, so they don't do anything. The reason you do that is because like maybe maybe students were getting much social interaction and coming in and talking to the RA every 15 times in a month, improve their mood, and that weirdly improved their cognitive skills. Like that's, you need a control for these things as best you can. So that's why there was a control group. So they didn't do anything. They were like doing crossword puzzles or something, or something in, like with a newspaper or something. And then she had the other group play Call of Duty, and they got better at a bunch of cognitive tests. We had it before; they weren't that good. After, they got better, and that was crazy. And that was like, so when I started grad school, that paper had been out, and I was like, and this is going to be a big theme of mine if I can keep talking about this stuff in the future and have people interested. But this is still like, I graduated 6 years ago now, and I still think this is underappreciated. And I thought this was a big deal when I started, that video games are like weirdly a really good scientific tool to study the brain. And her thing was even more direct than that. There was like, it actually helped the brain. And so anyway, that's why when I was in grad school, I was actually trying to create these custom sort of scientifically controlled games. And I had to do it under the auspices of like studying the brain and how it works. And then later it became like an intervention for a very specific thing for old people and trying to help improve their attentional ability, basically. Yeah, so I don't know if there's any neuroscience people in the chat, but we can talk more details of that. But anyway, so this is a thing that exists. Games help brains, but it's still not. It kind of got wrecked because there was like a lot of hype in about 6-7 years ago. Honestly, like around 2010, 2014, it got overhyped. A bunch of people trying to make money, and then the field kind of got killed because people were trying to make these like specific brain training games. But some of the best evidence, and this is my opinion, and there's all the disclaimers. The best evidence is actually a lot of the video games made by the video game industry has a more profound effect on your brain. And it's not that hard to understand, because these professional video game designers, and I work with some of them, they eat and breathe this stuff. They intuitively understand what it is to engage a human being, keep them engaged, challenge them, not over challenge them. I mean, that's all they talk about. And it was really informative and cool to work with them during grad school, because I got to work with them. I mean, I got to work with designers from LucasArts, from Microsoft Games, even from Zynga. But it's kind of like reflexive to them to think about really core psychological concepts and they're not even aware that they're just they've kind of intuitively figured this out. I mean, especially the more senior ones. So that's how games impact brains. And maybe a little later we can do the other one. I'm just going to take a break right now, but and go to something else. But a lot of people are interested in this in my Reddit edit too, the AMA. How do I make my brain better to play a game better? What should I be doing optimally for League of Legends? Or if I'm a coach, what should I be doing optimally? That's a really cool question. I'm a big believer in trying to take care of my brain. It's kind of my most important asset in my worldview. So I think that in general, to maintain your brain. And then there's people who are more specifically like, how do I play better at games? And that can get into like, what's the best training schedules? What's the best way to break down some complicated skill or task I'm trying to learn, or a situation I don't do well in. So that's really cool. And that can even get into like game strategies and stuff, which actually I'm really interested in too. So I mean, I don't have a PhD in meta and meta strategies and League of Legends or anything, but I've always been fascinated by like trying to break the meta and stuff like that. So and same thing with other games too.